Welcome back, everyone. In this lesson, we would like to go ahead and take a look at cursors. Now, we have not seen cursors before. Cursors are a construct that are built into just about every programming language, and Transact SQL T-SQL is no exception. As you know, with databases, we have a select statement when we want to fetch something, and what it does, it basically returns all matching values. If I run this select statement right now, that basically everything that matches gets returned. I may have lots of matches, I might have one, or I may have zero matches. It returns all of that. The thing is, when it comes time to processing all of this, programming languages cannot really process more than one thing at a time. So it becomes necessary to have a control structure that takes this information and allows us to go through it one row at a time and handle that one row at a time. This control structure is called a cursor. And Transact SQL supports it, Python supports it, Visual Basic supports it, Visual C# supports it. They all support a cursor construct. Let's go ahead and create our first cursor from scratch. Let me go ahead and close these. And I'm going to create a brand new SQL a query right here. I'm going to target this to be AdventureWorks LT 2019. To create a cursor in SQL Server in Transact SQL, we basically just declare it. Let's first declare some variables. You may recall that to declare a variable, we use the @ sign in SQL Server. So I'm going to have a variable first name, and I'm going to have it be nvarchar 50, and @ last name, and have it be nvarchar 50 as well. So a couple of variables that I need. Let's go ahead and declare the cursor. Now recall that the double hyphen means comment in SQL. So I'm going to declare customer cursor is the name of it. So this is the name, cursor. So it's a cursor. And what's it for? Okay. It's for a select statement. So it's for select first name, last name from sales LT dot customer. Now, before I run this, I do want to just run the select statement so you can clearly see that. And this just returns the first name and last name. Now, suppose that for whatever reason, I need to process these one at a time. I want to, let's say, display them one at a time. Now, to execute the cursor, I am going to execute this whole thing. So let me go ahead and run this. And you can see it says commands completed successfully. The cursor has been created. What I'm going to do next is to open the cursor. All right, well, how do we open that? We say open customer cursor. And what that does, it opens this cursor, and basically there's a pointer that is pointing to the very first record at this point. I'm going to fetch the first row from the cursor. Okay, how do we do that? We say fetch next from customer cursor, and I'm going to put it inside of my two variables. Let me go ahead and declare these so they are in memory into @ first name, whoops, and @ last name. If I go ahead and execute this, it basically, well, I got this error message. It says must declare the variable. I thought I had it declared up here, but it has an issue with it for whatever reason. That's okay. We'll run the whole thing together. All right, so what I can do now is I can go and just for the sake of just to see if this works so far, I'm going to say print customer name plus at first name plus a space plus at last name. Let me just run the whole thing. All right, and it says that the cursor already exists because I had executed it before. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and type in close customer cursor. This closes it, and then deallocate customer cursor, which destroys it. Let me run both of these, and then I'll run the whole thing again. And we can see that the first customer, Orlando G, was printed. If I were to want to get the additional customers, I would have to loop through and get these additional customers. So instead of just having this print statement all by itself, let's put in a loop. So let's go ahead and loop through the list of customers in the cursor. Okay. So I'm going to have a while loop. I'm going to say while at fetch status. Now this is an internal variable. So while at fetch status is equal to true, let's go ahead and begin. Let me indent this a little bit so it's clear as part of that while loop. I do want to have an end statement to match the begin. And what I will do over here is I will fetch the next row. So fetch next from, in fact, I'll just copy and paste that right here. Boom, done. And I'll leave the rest of it alone. And if I were to execute this at this point, you can see that it shows customer name and then first name, last name for each of these customers. I have the ability, because I'm inside of a controlled structure, to use conditionals, if statements, and do what changes if I wanted to. For instance, I'm not sure what changes I would want to make right here, but let's say I wanted to, I could easily do that. And this, in a nutshell, is what a cursor is. It allows you to loop through a data set, a result set from a select statement, and handle the records individually. This will come in quite handy for us later in this course. Just remember it for the time being. Let's do one more cursor here. So I'm going to create a brand new query. This one I'm just going to bring it in, but I will of course post it for you guys on GitHub so you can download it. But let me go ahead and bring it in here so we can see it. And let me add some comments that I had here for this so it will be more clear when you're looking at it later. All right. So it's running off a little bit, and that's okay. And there we are. So as you can see in this example, we'll iterate through the sales order header table for each order. We will calculate a total amount for all the associated items in sales order detailed table. The cursor will go through each order and print the total amount of items for that order. So a couple of variables to be declared. We have the total order amount variable, which is a decimal 18.2. Recall this means that this will have 18 up to 18 digits, and 16 will be before the decimal, 2 will be after the decimal. So the total will not exceed 18 digits, which should be more than enough for anything in this table. So we'll declare our cursor for this select statement, sales order ID from sales LT sales order header, where the order date is greater than January 1st of 2001. So we're only considering orders from 2001 onwards. Now, interestingly enough, it's always a good idea to run the select statement by itself and see if it's actually working. And we can see all the sales order headers after 2001. Good to know. We'll open the cursor and we'll fetch the from the cursor the next item into this order ID variable that we created. Okay. Again, we will loop while we have something in the cursor. That's what this is allowing us to do at fetch status. The total order amount is equal to 0. I am going to go ahead and get a sum of the line total from the sales order detail and set it equal to this at total order amount. You may remember that this is a way to assign a value. Now, normally, if I take this out, let me cut this out and just run this select statement here. Sorry, let me run this select statement right here. And you can see that it shows the total order column, this total value for everything was just added. But I can do this for particular order IDs. If I were to go up here and do this select statement, let's just do that. And I see these order IDs, for instance, 71774. I can come here and put in 71774. Let me comment this out. Sorry, what happened here? 7. I don't know why it's not working. 71774. And if I run this, now what it does the total total order for this particular sales order ID. So you get the idea that we're doing this for each sales order ID, and this is what that add order ID is doing for us here. Now, the results from this select statement, which is this, is going to be dumped into this variable. And this is how, as you recall from transactions, etc., this is how you do it. So this select runs and the results gets assigned to this variable. Then we can go ahead and print this, and we are casting the order ID to a character and the total amount to a character, so that we can print it easily. And if the total order amount exceeds 1,000, we're going to have a special message. It's going to print high value order with these little asterisks next to it. Don't forget to also close your cursor to basically and then destroy it so it's not in memory. Let me go ahead and run this now and see what happens. So you can see that that's $713 for that one that we just checked, and we said see the for 71776 is this much. This one is a high value order because it's obviously more than $1,000. So we are again processing this on a sort of a per record basis for what? Per order sales order ID. We are processing our data. So cursors can be quite useful when you want to process something one at a time. And in fact, if this is of course Transact SQL, we're inside of Transact SQL. But if I was in Python and I was connecting to SQL and trying to basically just run a select statement, I can't handle that directly in Python. I must create a cursor in Python, put the result set in that cursor, and then loop over that result set and handle it one at a time. Okay, we'll come back to cursors later in this series, and you'll see how useful they can be when we go through importing data. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're enjoying these, please share with loved ones and friends, and see you in the next video.